deadline for submission of candidates for the Ondo State governorship election is 6 p.m. today, Tuesday. APC, PDP and others move to the trenches as political maneuverings in Ondo State begins. Also today on political update, we will speak with the pastor politician on welding the spiritual with the political. Plus, West African leaders point the way to lasting peace in Mali as they attempt to unlock a political conundrum that is raising mud and dust in the Malian desert. It is a fast-moving package today on Political Update, so fasten your seatbelts and let's set sail. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. The extraordinary summit of heads of state and government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has ended with a call for the immediate resignation of all the lawmakers occupying the disputed 31 seats in the Malian parliament to pave way for by-elections. The ECOWAS leaders also insist on the conduct of an inquiry into the violent political unrest in Mali, as well as the intensification of efforts towards the release of the abducted opposition leader, Somalia Cisse.
The opposition was making a demand for the resignation of the president. And ECOWAS' position is no head of state shall be removed other than through constitutional means.
The extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS leaders in a 12-point resolution, however, agreed that a government of national unity be rapidly established to implement all reforms and recommendations issued from the inclusive dialogue towards improving governance.
There were lots of crises arising from the elections, which has led to a lot of deaths. The meeting resolved that a commission of inquiry be set to look into the circumstances surrounding this loss of lives and the loss of property, with a view to establishing those that are culpable and punishing them. In addition, the government of Mali is being encouraged to establish a support fund for those that may have been injured and even for those who may have also lost their lives in the process of those demonstrations.
The meeting also resolved that a constitutional court be reconstituted in line with the legal provisions in Mali, while an all-inclusive monitoring committee be put in place for the implementation of all the measures adopted by the ECOWAS leaders.
It is believed that that will go a long way in bringing peace to that country and, of course, generating a lot more confidence in the opposition to participate in salvaging what remains of their country. It is in everybody's interest that these matters are addressed and addressed squarely and immediately.
A 10-day ultimatum has been given by the ECOWAS leaders to implement all the decisions and measures agreed upon, and directed the ECOWAS Commission to consider sanctions against all those found acting contrary to the normalization of the situation in Mali. The socio-political challenges in Mali is taking place at a critical moment in the history of the country, characterized by recurrent terrorist attacks, intercommunal tensions, social unrest marked by school teacher strikes, as well as the health crisis caused by COVID-19 and its consequences on the economy.
Coming back home now, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress and the incumbent governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, has commended the party's caretaker and extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee for setting up the committees to reconcile the party faithful in the states where members are aggrieved. He says these engagements will position the party for greater success.
And some APC aspirants during the July 20th primary election in Ondo State honored an invitation by the Governorship Appeal Committee that is sitting at the party's National Secretariat. Some of them shared their experiences at the end of the closed-door engagement with the Appeal Committee.
And I'm meeting with some leaders so that they can call all stakeholders meeting for us to move ahead on this matter. And the committee headed by Sani Abubakar, governor of Niger State, is making great efforts to ensure that there is reconciliation. We will continue to pursue reconciliation.
But because we believe in our party, APC, we said whatever it is that is wrong with the process, we should look away and move forward and support the party so that we record a success.
Governor Akeredolu emerged candidate of APC ahead of the governorship election scheduled to hold on the 10th October 2020. Similarly, APC Professionals Forum has urged party faithful to embrace the ongoing intra-party reconciliation that is yielding positive results.
We strongly believe that a good reward system will give a foundation to the peace and reconciliation that the President has begun with the setting up of the APC National Caretaker Committee.
The forum has appealed to party leaders and members to work towards adding value to the progressive ideology of building peace.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has presented a certificate of return to its governorship standard bearer in Ondo State, Eyitayo Jegede, senior advocate of Nigeria. The governorship candidate was at the PDP National Secretariat of the party in Abuja.
This presentation of certificate of return to Eyitayo Jegede SAN followed his victory at last week's governorship primary election held in Akure. National Secretary of the PDP, Senator Ibrahim Sauri, on behalf of the national chairman, assured of peaceful election come October 10.
The election that produced Jegede as our candidate cannot be faulted by any right-thinking person. PDP is democratic. We shall continue to be democratic.
By the grace of God, come 10th of October 2020, a new face will emerge as the governor-elect. And God willing, and I say this sincerely, by the grace of God again, that come 23rd of February 2021, PDP candidate will be sworn in as the new governor of Abuja.
Eyitayo Jegede was the PDP candidate in the elections that brought to office the incumbent governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu SAN, 4 years ago.
Eyitayo Jegede there. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is expecting that all parties that are participating in the governorship election in Ondo State should, by 6 p.m. today, have submitted the names of their candidates. Moving on now, he is a pastor and is a politician, moving from the pulpit to the podium with relative ease as the need arises. APC's governorship candidate in the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial election, Osage Ize Yamu, in an interview with Ronke Kolawole in Lagos, speaks about his vision for his state, losing election and climbing back on the saddle, and of course the welding of the spiritual with the political. Take a listen.
We have an army of volunteers. For many Edo people, it's not just about party. You know that we have seen very eminent people in PDP who have identified with a simple agenda, not because they belong to the APC, but simply because, hey, this is our state. We want the best for our state. Whereas the candidate of the APC has come up with an agenda. The candidate, even in our own party, has no agenda. So on what basis are we going to support him? We cannot support him simply because he's a member of our party. The issue is, what is he going to do? You can't have somebody who has a clear-cut program that we have not been able to fight, and you tell us not to support him, and support somebody who has no program. So, a lot of people are out there, PDP members, APC members, people from other political parties, students, civil servants, traditional, religious, all kinds of people. They have had the opportunity to read this. Some have read it online. Some have been able to get the hard copy, and we are trying to print more. And the assessment is that this guy understands our state. He means well. Let's give him an opportunity. Let's give him a chance. And I'm very grateful to them. If things must get better in this country, we need to get more people who fear God, more people who will keep to their promises, more people who would make government accessible, we need to get many of them into government. So it's not been a big problem trying to combine my pastoral work with my politics. I've tried to complement them because all said and done, politics is about people. Pastoral work is about people. And a true politician has to be somebody who is responsive to the needs of our people. And that is the same thing with the pastor. So there's even a similarity. And I've enjoyed doing both, even though they have their challenges. I enjoy being a pastor, I enjoy being a politician. But the basic thing is trying to serve the people. So there's really no serious conflict. You see, in life, you must learn not to abandon your dreams. The problem with many of us is that when you fail in your first attempt, some of us will erroneously say, well, maybe that is not God's will for us. But the beauty and the testimony is being able to go back again and again. Let's take General Buhari, for example. He contested 3 times and lost as president of his country. The 3 times he lost translated to 12 years because each time he lost, it was 4 years. So after 12 years, you would have said, this thing cannot be, it's not possible. But thank God he still went the 4th time, and this time he got it. So we must learn not to give up our dreams simply because the first time it didn't work. Sometimes, it might not just be God's timing. Sometimes you also need to go through that experience of failure to appreciate success. So the past 4 years has actually matured me. It has made me to look at life in a different way. And I think that if I'm governor, Edo will benefit because I'm somebody who has learnt a lot. Even with the defeat you mentioned. I believe that I'm coming back because I am convinced that the program I have is superior to what is on ground. In fact, what is on ground is the non-existence of a program.
APC gubernatorial candidate in the forthcoming Edo State election, Osage Yamu, they are bearing his mind. Don't forget, this is the Eye on the Ballot segment. We'll be expecting all other gubernatorial aspirants in Edo State and, of course, later on Edo State to also be a part of it to come forward and tell us exactly what they have for the people. Now, the Osun State All Progressives Congress caucus in the National Assembly has described the statement alleging that $20 million grant to the state from the World Bank was not judiciously used as false. The caucus, which credited the statement to Senator Francis Fadamsi, who is also from the state, dissociated itself from the statement. It says the statement also made by the senator that Osun State has exceeded its threshold is another misinformation.
What in time did we have a meeting for him to make the representation he has made? And the representation is 2. One is criticism of the utilization of the grants gotten by our state because he was able to come first in terms of saving 100 million lives, for which the state was given a sum of $20 million to upgrade and revitalize the primary health care center in the state. If you go to the state today, all over the state, close to 300 PSC have been revitalized in relation to that, and the money was domiciled in the CBN to ensure that due process is complied.
So bonds are where we have been operating. The Sukuk was a bond of the Islamic order. It's been repaid. other bonds that the state has taken are being repaid. So the state basically is organized like a very, 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 very well organized, and I think functional organization.
Everybody is telling you, now that we are honoring this, I can facilitate your, tell the caucus. You don't need to publish anything now. Tell the caucus that you want to visit us. The only thing that I say is like, then you cannot trust me again. Where are these hospitals? Where are these? The general hospital in less than my town is overgrown by bush. Formerly we had about 18 doctors, now we have about 3.
The last track-up was from Senator Francis Fadamsi in a telephone conversation, who maintained his position that the state has exceeded its debt threshold. He challenged the caucus to provide details of the contracts awarded for primary health center projects alleged to have established the World Bank grant. Now, the chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Senator Ayo Akinyelure, has described the allegation by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs that some members of the National Assembly were awarded contracts in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, as unfounded. Senator Akinyelure, while briefing journalists, explained that most of the contracts alleged to have been taken by the legislators at different times are constituency projects. He noted that as representatives of the people, projects allocated to their constituencies are situated in various ministries. The senator, however, said if there is any act of fraud perpetrated by any senator in the execution of the projects, that the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions will bring the offender to book. And still from the National Assembly, in aligning with the priority of the federal government to boost the agricultural sector for economic diversification, the House of Representatives held a public hearing on 3 agro-based bills, during which stakeholders submitted inputs to the House Committee on Agriculture, Production and Services on the bills.
The 3 bills being considered at this hearing are a bill to establish Nigeria Institute of Plant Variety Protection Council, a bill to amend the Sea Fisheries Act, and a bill for the repeal and reenactment of Commodity and Grains Board. This process of legislation enables interested parties to make observations on the contents and bring forth suggestions. House Leader Alhassan Adodogwa says the bills will pave way for increased investments and stimulate production in the agri sector.
As we proceed to identify critical gaps needed to be filled in the agricultural sector and offering tangible solutions towards filling them, let us please remember that the teams and association of farmers are counting on us for their improved livelihood and income.
Chairman of the committee, Representative Muntari Danduse, says food security across the country is the intent of the legislations.
To ensure that all our unemployed youth and all our people that are critical stakeholders in this sector, both the production sector and the services sector, this agriculture can sustain and substitute the oil we depend in this country.
We are a country that is in dire need of expanding its economy. And in expanding the economy of this country, I think and I believe that when we speak to agriculture, it should not just be farming alone.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture, associations and other agencies of government made presentations at the hearing.
Our observations, which we would submit, is that the proposed fines are too meager.
The committee assured that all inputs will be considered on merit.
Now to some development issues. We have coming from Ondo State that following the approval of a new policy on local production of bitumen in Nigeria by the Federal Executive Council, the Ondo State government has taken delivery of modern equipment for excavation and scooping of bitumen for its processing into large-scale asphalt materials for local off-takers across the country. The report.
About 42.74 billion metric tons of untapped bitumen are said to be deposited in Ogun, Ondo, Delta, Rivers, and Bayelsa states, realizing the inherent economic benefits in local production of bitumen, which is a raw material for road construction. Ondo State government procured equipment including excavator, scoopers, truck and bulldozers for the take-off of the production of 20,000 to 50,000 metric tons of bitumen monthly in the state.
Anybody that needs bitumen in any location in a molten state, you can deploy this and make sure you set the temperature and take it anywhere around and across the country.
We've been able to map out where we're going to start the operation, and we're going to probably have that as trial mining, where we're going to be having bitumen poured to this yard.
We expect that the cost of construction per mile would go down. We'll get benefits. We're already almost 10-15% into this now.
The state government and its partners expressed conviction that production of bitumen in Ondo State will not only cut down millions of dollars being spent on importation of bitumen, but also create jobs for youths.
Good development there. Now, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA 2020 Flood Alert Mitigation and Response Committee says evacuation of residents in the flood-prone areas will commence immediately to avert imminent disaster on lives and property. Let's take in the visit.
More than 50 houses are said to have been submerged in Angwan, Kaura and Giri communities of Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT, killing at least 5 persons, a mother and half children.
Water just surged so very quickly, forcefully, and was pushing off things to the extent that to the height of the house, to the other side, it kept on destroying things at the house. So this has been a very terrible experience.
So many other valuable things, some their house collapsed, some, their properties were taken, and some even their documents.
Make government help us to do bridge, and they help those people. Their things lost, some water is packing. This is our problem. And since yesterday we are inside water.
The NEMA Response Committee, who attributed the cause of the flood to obstruction by buildings on waterways, says people should adhere to government advice. The committee sympathizes with the victims and promised to immediately provide relief items to the victims.
I want people to know that flood this year has been predicted, and whatever we can do to save life, we will do. And that is one of the things we want to do.
It will be recalled that Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency has predicted that 102 local government areas in 28 states will experience high risks of flooding, while 275 local government areas in 36 states, including the FCT, will experience moderate risks of flooding, and 389 local government areas will have low risks of the disaster.
That has been political update for today, but before we go, for gladiators in the Edo and Ondo gubernatorial election, let's know exactly what you're doing and where you're doing them so that camera lenses can capture and let us, your state know exactly what you are doing. And keep the language very civil so that it will be fit for broadcast. My name is Fisaya Ogunfi. Thanking you for being a part of today's program. We'll be back again on Friday, God willing. Remember that man is a political animal, so play your politics for the greater good. Stick with the Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
This is the network service of the NTA.
When it comes to the creative talents of the beauty and fashion industry, every day is a good day to celebrate their excellence. And today is no different. It's your weekly survey of style and culture across the globe. I am Onyeka Chioma, and this is Today's Style.
On the show today, the amazing story of becoming a beauty queen. We chart the meteoric rise of Tongoro, celebrate the recent milestones of 3 African creatives, and uncover the surprising history of red lipstick.
She's a mentor, a passionate activist, a model, and a beauty pageant title holder. Queen Ruth takes us on her journey from the runway to becoming Miss Unity Nigeria, and we get to learn about how she uses her influence to impact social reform.
I'm from Benue State, Idoma to be precise. I'm a student of the Benue State University, an undergraduate, studying mass communication. I'm the present Queen of Unity Nigeria, and during the pageant, I represented Adamawa State. My earrings, my wristwatch, and my shoes. I can't do without my powder, my mascara, my lipstick, drawing my eyebrow. Yeah, I love writing, and also I love singing. These are not just songs that are already known, these are my own songs. I love Sinach so much. Our songs are so inspiring. The family I came from, their support, their encouragement, and their prayers especially. He walked up to me and was like, you have the old physique and all of that. You could be a supermodel. Give it a thought. My first appearance was with other models, and when I got there, my fear at first was seeing this huge, big, tall girls, because I just felt I wasn't fit to do that particular event for that night. I was always the shy person, but when I started modeling, I got this shyness off me. It was not easy trying to do the old catwalking thing, and then I mounted the podium. The catwalk was okay. They were happy with what I did, and then that was I had the old courage that yes, if I can do this night, I can do it for as long as I want. Finest Girl Nigeria International. That was 2014. And God helping, I was crowned the finest girl Southwest Nigeria. And that was where the whole pageantry, vision, everything all started from. I went for Queen of Peace and Unity Nigeria, hoping to win also. but came back home with Queen of Peace and Unity Tourism. I felt a bit discouraged. But one thing that kept me going was my passion. So I saw the advert of this Queen of Unity Nigeria. I went for it, got the phone, got screened. I was sent a text then to come to Lagos. The whole journey from Benue, Makurdi to Lagos, I had to sleep at the park that very night. I came into the park, that was 2 a.m. And 2 a.m., where was I even thinking of going to? I called the camp manager and he was like, you have to stay at the park because it's for your safety. Lagos is risky. Then the next morning, I didn't sleep. My eyes were open till 4 a.m. And I was thinking I was going to go into the room, like they were going to consider me coming all the way from Benue and, okay, fine, let her just take a nap and all of that. And the camp manager was like, no, we don't do that here. You came for a business, you have to. Then I just had to drop my bag at the hotel, then changed. I had to join the other girls because at the back of my mind, I had it that yes, this is what brought me. You came for a reason, you came for a purpose. Sleeping at the park, it was devastating. So that pain alone just got me going. The first outing was the introduction, where we did the old dancing thing. And then the second now was the traditional attire. I was at the backstage when she brought my costume. I was supposed to see my costume before I go backstage. So my mom, everybody had to call. I was like, what's happening? Ruth is almost... I was crying, basically. I was crying. Then the third was the casual. Then the last now was the dinner gown. Then the dinner gown was where the old contestant comes, stand on the podium, and that's when you hear the hearts pounding, boom, boom, and then you're like, whatever comes, like the whatever comes now, you're just using that to encourage yourself, like to pat yourself at the back.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, according to the judges, I said the best dinner gown of the year.
And to my greatest astonishment, I won the best dinner gown. Tonight, we're going to be crowning a new Queen of Unity Nigeria 2019-2020, and it's no other person but contestant number 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, Queen of Unity Nigeria, there's no other person than contestant number 5.
I had to look at my tag and I was like, could it be me? You know, the tears of joy. I can't erase that memory. Like nothing can. Not just a runner-up, a mother queen. And then I had to go and stand up for the champion. Like, that's when I got to know what victory is all about. Tasting victory. It might take a while, but when you just keep the hope alive, you get there. And here I am. They say charity begins at home. I'm from Benue State, where I saw a very dilapidated school. Visited the school, the HM, I got to realize that a lot is really lacking in the school. These people, they've been out of school a very long time. And so many of them are eager to come back to resume. How can we put smile on their face? It's putting smile by they coming, seeing something new, entirely new, seeing something like a standardized playground. After learning, they could go getting a convenient, the equipped library, and also drinkable water. It's what I really want to do for them. So I've seen this. These are the challenges this particular school is facing, and this is the way I feel as the Queen of Unity. I feel I can come in and